We are taught that human evolution was a slow, grueling, almost impossible struggle. We are told that for millions of years, early hominins crawled across the dirt, slowly developing slightly larger brains. It took our ancestors countless generations just to figure out how to make a stone spearhead. And then, according to mainstream science, it took another 2 million years just to figure out how to change the shape of that rock. We are told this slow, agonizing crawl is an absolute, undisputed historical fact. But then, the timeline breaks. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Homo sapiens appeared. We annihilated the Neanderthals. In a cosmic blink of an eye, just 30,000 years, a fraction of a second in evolutionary time, we went from building primitive stone circles to landing probes on other planets and splitting the atom. How did mankind evolve so incredibly fast? How did we bypass millions of years of natural selection? The terrifying answer, hidden in plain sight, is that we didn't evolve at all. Mankind was engineered, purpose-built by beings from the sky. And the instruction manual for our creation wasn't hidden in the stars. It was written down on clay tablets thousands of years ago. Welcome to Forbidden Origins. Today, we are exposing the true origin of the human slave species. If you open any university textbook, mainstream archaeologists will tell you a very convenient story about the Sumerians. Located in ancient Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, Sumer is called the cradle of civilization. Academia teaches us that these primitive people, practically overnight, independently invented agriculture, complex mathematics, a written language called cuneiform, and the first legal codes out of thin air. When you ask historians about the Sumerian carvings that clearly depict giant flying gods coming down from the heavens, they smile condescendingly. They tell you it's just metaphor, just primitive mythology. But what if it isn't a metaphor? What if we actually translate the cuneiform tablets literally? The texts do not describe imaginary gods. They document a literal, physical arrival. They describe the Anunnaki, a highly advanced extraterrestrial race originating from a distant planet called Nibiru. According to the tablets, the Anunnaki didn't come to Earth to teach us poetry. They descended with a very specific, desperate terrestrial mission: to mine gold to save their own dying planet. And when their own alien workforce eventually rebelled against the grueling labor, the Anunnaki needed a new tool. They needed a biological machine to do the heavy lifting in the dirt. That machine was us. Now, the establishment wants you to believe this is just ancient science fiction, but let's look at the undeniable evidence left in the dirt. Evidence number 1, the impossible technological leap. Biology and anthropology dictate that evolution requires time. You do not go from being a primitive hunter-gatherer wearing animal skins to suddenly building complex irrigation systems, multi-story ziggurats, and mapping the precise orbits of planets you can't even see with the naked eye. The Sumerian leap in technology was so abrupt, so historically violent, that it is biologically impossible without outside advanced intervention. They didn't learn these things, they were taught. Evidence number 2, the literal translation of the texts. If this was just a myth, the story wouldn't be so incredibly bureaucratic and logical. The Sumerian tablets meticulously describe the dynamic between two groups, the Igigi and the Anunnaki. The translation states that the Igigi were the lower-class alien workers. For hundreds of years, they were forced to mine gold on Earth. Eventually, they went on strike. They mutinied against their commanders. Faced with a labor shortage, the chief Anunnaki scientist, Enki, proposed a terrifying solution. He suggested taking the primitive, ape-like hominins that naturally roamed the earth and upgrading them. Which brings us to evidence number 3, ancient genetic modification. In the ancient Babylonian epic, the Enuma Elish, and the Atrahasis epic, the creation of mankind is described in chilling scientific detail. The texts say the Anunnaki literally mixed their divine essence, their blood, their DNA, with the clay of the earth, representing the existing hominins. They didn't create us out of love. They genetically spliced a primitive ape with advanced alien genetics to create a hybrid species smart enough to understand commands, take orders, and use tools, but docile enough not to rebel. They created the ultimate subservient worker, Homo sapiens. So, let me get this straight. A hyper-advanced alien civilization figures out how to master interstellar space travel. They cross the freezing, deadly void of the cosmos, navigate through our solar system, and arrive on Earth safely, just so they can mine gold to fix a failing atmosphere back home? You would think a society capable of traversing the galaxy could figure out how to synthesize metal in a high-tech lab. But no, I guess genetically engineering a race of hairless, anxiety-ridden ape slaves to swing pickaxes in the dirt was just the more practical solution. Honestly, it really builds character. Thanks, Space Dad. But here is where the story goes from ancient history to a modern-day conspiracy. In the 1970s, a brilliant scholar named Zecharia Sitchin spent his life translating these very concepts from the Sumerian cuneiform texts. He wrote a groundbreaking book called The 12th Planet, laying out the exact blueprint of our Anunnaki origins. So what did the Smithsonian and mainstream academia do? Did they investigate? Did they debate his translations? No. They mocked him. They destroyed his credibility. They actively campaigned to label his life's work as a complete hoax, burying the translations in the darkest corners of fringe internet forums. Why? Why are the global elite so terrified of these ancient clay tablets? Because acknowledging the Anunnaki shatters the very foundation of modern control. If the masses realize that the traditional religious narrative is a cover-up, if we realize that we were engineered purely to be a subservient slave species for an advanced ruling class, we might start looking at our current reality a little too closely. Think about it. We are born. We go to school to learn how to follow orders. We spend 50 years working 9-to-5 jobs, paying taxes, digging up resources, and generating wealth for a tiny percentage of unelected power brokers who pull the strings from the shadows. The Anunnaki may have left, but the system they built never did. For centuries, the powerful have kept these secrets to protect their agenda. They maintain the illusion of human freedom while treating us exactly as we were designed to be, a highly efficient workforce. They want us to keep us in the dark. They want us spinning on our little hamster wheels, completely blind to our true origins, fighting with each other over politics and pieces of paper, while they hoard the truth. But the truth has never been easier to find if you know where to look. Here at Forbidden Origins, we aren't just viewers, we